You're an idiot.
I'm doing very well, Jen. Is it just going to be me and you, or Eli and Zach going to pop in?
Yeah, they'll talk every once in a while. But
Every now and then we'll try.
he was already here right away.
It kind of, well, we're used to you attacking us, so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Look at
Let's just put it this way. Who do you see as the quarterback week one for the Green Bay Packers?
I see.
Welcome in, everybody, to the newest edition of Open Book here on Game On Wisconsin. As the title says, Packers currently leading the NFC. Always a great feeling. But before we jump into the Packers, we obviously got to go around the room, see how everybody's doing, maybe talk some fantasy football. Definitely going to be some trash talk on this show, as you'll see. Zach, not so much. Zach's sitting back and relaxing. But Jen, how are you doing? How are you recovering from, being at the game on Sunday? We got to hear some of those in-person experiences, because you could not have picked a better and more exciting game. Thank you, Chris. Better, exciting game to go to than Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, I love Sunday night games at Lambeau versus the Bears. I went to my knee one. So I was like, I know this one's going to be a good one. I bought these tickets, I think, before the season even started. So I just knew it was going to be a good one. I didn't think that I was going to have like heart palpitations within the first 5 minutes of the game, but things obviously started to turn the other way. Rasul Douglas comes in and a lot happened in my end zone. I actually had, I bought Andy Herman's season tickets for that game. So I was sitting in his section, which is the north end zone. So I got to see Lazard, I think Devontae twice, the Rasul pick six. So there's a lot happening. And luckily a lot of the Bears stuff was happening as far away as possible. And yep, I did get to see Kurt Benkert. I did rock my jersey, which you couldn't see it for most of the game because it was under like 7 layers of clothing. But no, it was a great game to be at. And the environment is always so fun. And there was no snow, but it was still cold. And I love that. I love cold games at Lambeau. I know, Eli, we went to the one in August, and I don't like sweating when I'm at a football game. I like to be bundled up with my mittens and my bibs and my jacket. I don't like sweating in those bleachers. So this is my kind of environment for football. And I know Cole, who decided to never show up in our chat anymore, those kids who aren't from the Midwest are complaining about being cold. And I was totally fine. So, no, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of nonsense happening, but it's fun to see the Packers put up 40 plus on the Bears.
Yeah, I believe it was our first 40 burger of the season. Yeah, Jen's going hipster on us. But Zach, how you doing? How's your week been? How did you looking like? I don't know what that means.
Guido.
Guido, like you're like one of those Italian dudes. You ever seen Jersey Shore?
Oh no, I haven't. But they make reference to it, and of course, my favorite show, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They do like to bring them up at times. But Zach, taking in Sunday night's game and everything else going on, Jen, you bring up the weather. I think it's colder here in California than it is in the Midwest right now. So
yeah, we're getting funky weather today, though. I mean, I was telling the guys when I was on Lombardi's bar like 15 minutes ago, and there's a good chance that I lose power sometime during this show. We've got really strong winds. It's raining. I couldn't see anytime I drove anywhere today because the fog was really bad, but it's like 50 some degrees right now. So I think that we swapped weather on accident. I would rather have that 30 degrees and snow than whatever December weather this is.
Yeah.
I was actually loving it this morning. I left for work this morning and it was 36 degrees. And I was like, oh, wow.
That's the temperature it was at Lambeau at kickoff. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, okay. What do you mean I'm on top? Can you see me? Like, am I good?
I mean, it's really grainy, but
can we at least give me some props for having good Wi-Fi this week?
Wow, one out of like
the first time in like 2 months. Yeah, congrats.
I found and this will be my weekly spot for the show, so we're gonna be good to go.
Okay. Go. I'm gonna leave, swap my Wi-Fi, and then I'm gonna come back. This is gonna be fixed. See you in a moment. Okay. On my life, this is gonna be fixed.
Okay. Guess we'll see on Zach's life if this works.
Well, while Zach's gone, kind of like he's gone in the Open Book Fantasy Football League playoffs.
Such an asshole.
Unlike me, Jen, and Andrew, we all made the playoffs.
Here, pop Andrew in for a second.
Yeah, I know Andrew, he's been in here.
Andrew's been shit talking all week about fantasy football.
You can't really see me that well, but Jen, I think it's warranted today. We had a pretty good battle though. I'll say it. We were going back and forth. James Conner almost had me shitting bricks. Well, just the way he was playing, I was like, well, Cooper Kupp's got to keep playing well, and thankfully AJ Green went off.
Do you have Connor and Kupp?
What was that?
Do you have Connor and Kupp?
No, you have James Conner.
You have Conner.
Okay. Well, I was
saying you were having me shit bricks because James Conner was going off.
I know. I
had Cooper Kupp. Oh, and AJ Green had his best year of the season. And I was a mastermind because I picked up Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had one of his best weeks. So I'm okay with my team right now. I know Ben was talking about, thank God I don't have Calvin Ridley playing well, or not playing at all, but even when he was playing, he wasn't playing the greatest. So that was the biggest draft fuck up I had in this league, was getting Calvin Ridley as my top receiver.
Yeah, well, you could never have seen his season kind of going the way it did.
I'll see myself.
I leave for a couple seconds, and that's who you replace me with? Are you kidding me?
Well, Eli started shit talking you as soon as you left. So
what did he say? What'd you say, Eli?
Like, oh, Zach is gone, just like he is in playoffs. So
got him.
I can't defend myself. You know what? It was a shitty season. My players got hurt, and it went down the drain so fast. I won that first game against you. I was 1-0. I was feeling so good.
You're 2-0 against me, actually.
Well, this at the beginning. I mean, I beat you in that first game, and then I lost like 7 straight. I'm in hell. I'm being tortured by fantasy football. Thankfully, in my other league that I'm definitely telling the truth about, unlike Jen, I'm in the playoffs, and I have one of the best records. So
hey, in my other league, I was losing. Because I was driving to Green Bay, didn't realize Waller was out, didn't even have a tight end play, and Connor and Kupp came in clutch for me, and I won. So I'm still the number 1 seed.
Well,
in my made-up league, but in this,
it's a shame that. Yeah, it's a shame none of those things ever happened.
Yeah.
No, and when I was in Green Bay, I stayed at one of my friend's house who is in that league, and I was like, I could have you go on, but you would never vouch for me. He's like, oh, absolutely not. Yeah, would never tell anybody that I know you. But I mean, I did sneak my way into this playoff, so time to run the table. Run the table
That is props to Jen. Great team name.
Thank you.
I will say, switching team names mid-season, superstitious me, I would never do such a thing. But for anyone outside of the league and everyone watching, me and Jen will be facing off in the first round of the playoffs, which throughout this show we'll have to find a punishment. Yeah, exactly. Zach has to yawn.
Well, Zach needs to try and win the loser bracket at least, be the best loser.
I will. I'm going to be the toilet bowl champ. Are you kidding me? I'm going to win something.
Yeah, whoever comes in complete last place will probably have to come on the show and do something extremely embarrassing. But before we dive into the Bears game, as you can see in the comments section, I think most people are here for one reason, and that's Zach's tremendous ad reads of the Artec Ventures sponsor that we are so appreciative to have. So before we get to the Bear game, Zach, as Andrew so eloquently said, bless our ear holes with this ad.
Jeez.
Okay. All right. Time to start blessing some holes. Okay.
That's all right. Way to say it.
This is so stupid. This is the most overblown, stupid thing. Okay, but I have an obligation. All right. If I appear to be somewhat low energy, I have a fucking throbbing fucking headache. So I said the F word. Sorry about that. We're censored on this show sometimes.
Never.
This show is brought to you by Artec Ventures. The goal at Artec Ventures is to collaborate closely with founders throughout all the investment and fundraising stages, turning their visions into successful companies. Since 2020, Artec Ventures has helped turn great ideas into profitable businesses that make an impact on industries, communities, and beyond.
and beyond. There you go. Thank you to
I'm
our
trying to be serious, but apparently Zach using the word throbbing was not appropriate wording.
I didn't say throbbing.
Oh, you said
When did I say
throbbing.
throbbing? No,
throbbing
I
headache, and they thought you were gonna say throbbing.
Oh, I did say that. You're right.
Yeah,
That word did come out of my mouth.
Oh, it sure did. It sure did. Let's just keep all the throbbing to ourselves. But
Look, we're off to a great start here. The throbbing and the holes, and I mean,
I think we all had a throbbing feeling in all of our holes watching the Packers special teams Sunday night.
What a segue! That was beautiful.
You got to do it.
My mom watches this show, Eli. Watch your language.
I'm sorry, but
she hasn't heard before. It's fine.
Yeah.
We've all lived a little
also
bit.
watches sometimes.
Look, let's
keep it a little appropriate. Talk about throbbing things in our hole.
All right. Well, getting to the game, obviously the Packers take home the W, but I don't see any way to kick it off without just getting the negative out of the way first before we could get to the positive, because I always like finishing on a good note. Special teams literally sucked the life out of me watching Sunday night. It was almost not even real. Like, I put together at halftime and tweeted a list of things, and it was like 6 or 7 huge debacles. And then there were like 3 or 4 more in the second half. So, Zach, watching the game, your initial reaction to it, and then also Matt LaFleur, and obviously, 3-4 days later now, no coaching changes, no real big changes to that unit. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How is this going to change? Because I have a very terrible feeling in my stomach that this is going to bite us at the worst time come January.
You started talking about special teams, and I got like a gnarly cramp in my foot. So
yeah.
I was like,
that's how you know.
I'm not surprised that they didn't change coaches. I mean, okay, hey, whoa, Chris, let's take it easy here. I'm not surprised that they didn't change coaches, because I mean, the Packers have never been one to do things impulsively. They're going to ride out this storm, whatever it entails. If something unforeseen happens and they turn that whole unit around right in time for the playoffs and everything works out happily ever after, then we'll find out. If it goes downhill and special teams begins to cost the Packers games down the stretch here, I mean, no matter what, they're a playoff team. Playoff teams don't make coaching changes like that, on a whim. I don't know if it's really just like, if it's a matter of like the personnel or if it's the coaching. But after so long, when you're seeing these, like, the mistakes from players, I mean, even Randall Cobb muffed a punt, a couple weeks ago. I mean, it's not just Amari Rodgers not being able to, have that field awareness and know when to field a punt and know, when to do what. It's not just guys like, neglecting the lanes that they're supposed to be taking on punt coverage. At some point it goes beyond the players, and you need to point your finger at where those players are kind of being taught. So I think there has to be some kind of internal change. I wasn't a fan of Maurice Drayton being promoted. I mean, yeah, he spent 3 seasons as an assistant special teams coach for the Packers. They opted for an internal hire instead of a completely new, fresh approach. And that immediately was like, I wasn't the biggest fan of that. And at the beginning of the season, we started seeing some of these problems on special teams, and it's kind of snowballed into where we are now. I was preaching, let's just give it some time. It takes time to really bring that unit together and chase the vision that you want. And we're not seeing those strides yet. If anything, they're going backwards. So now people are seeing now how important special teams is. It's not just offense and defense. I mean, this is a huge phase of the game that is going to win you games, and it's going to lose you games. And if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers like going God mode against the Bears, then Packers probably would have lost that game, because it's the 3rd time in almost 30 years that the Bears scored more than 28 points at Lambeau. Which is,
I heard that stat after the game, and that blew my mind. But real quick, I mean, you're saying, on a whim, but I mean, let's be real. Is it so much of a whim? I mean, since essentially the Bengals game, which was, I believe, week 4, starting with the Mason Crosby issues. And then, I mean, really also, I mean, our punt coverage and kick coverage has been bad, but it's been the whole year, and I do agree with you. An internal hire from a special teams unit that has been struggling mightily for the last 2 years to just bring someone from that group and make him the coach. I didn't love it either. But Jen, you were there in person, and I'm sure the crowd on special teams when you have Jakeem Grant going 97 yards and you have Malik Taylor fielding a ball that was on its way out of bounds to put the Packers at the 40 and instead put us at the 5. You know, what did you see out there in person? And also what was the energy in the stadium when they just simply could not get one thing right on special teams? Outside of, I will say, Mason Crosby looking solid, mostly extra points, but looking solid.
Yeah, no, it was at least nice to see Mason Crosby 100% on the day. You know, it's kind of one of those games where it's good to see from him kind of just as his usual self. But yeah, I mean, right in front of me, I see the Malik Taylor, and I take the picture before. I'm like, this is cool. Yeah. And then I was like, then it wasn't cool. So yeah, that was rough. I mean, it's like right there. And, you know, I can't say a lot of the things that the crowd said because there was a lot of censored things, but it was a lot of just, you know, kind of in awe of what's happening. And then it just continued to happen with the return. And that also, you know, I see him kind of like, you know, very close, like he should have been down. And then I just watch him run to the complete opposite corner of where I'm sitting. And it was like, people were just like standing there like jaws on the bleachers. It was unbelievable. And it was just kind of like, it was comical almost what we were watching. And then, you know, the muff punt that luckily, what was it? Someone ran out of bounds or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was a miracle.
I can't remember what happened exactly where they were able to get it back, but it's like, there was just so much happening where, yeah, it was, you know, we really didn't, the crowd, we were all just kind of all over the place because it's just at this point, it's humorous. It's like, I don't understand what we can do to fix this. It's everybody. I mean, there's just
another pin.
Get his, no. Get his comment off the screen. He's not from Brazil. He's my friend, Behe. He's from Minnesota. He's a Vikings fan. So
yeah.
So the bad kind of Minnesotan, okay.
Well,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as Jen said, I mean, this is just the first half. Okay, this is before the second half where they messed up the onside kick and I believe gave up 2 more big returns on either punt/kick. But in the first half alone, a 34-yard punt return, a muffed kick by Malik Taylor at the 5-yard line, a 40-yard kickoff return. Mason Crosby kicked the ball out of bounds on a kickoff, which is pretty unacceptable. 97-yard punt return, which is unheard of, and then a 42-yard kick return allowed. I mean, that's one half of football. I just listed 7 things that shouldn't really ever happen. It's just at what point, and Zach, I agree, it's not one person. It's not just the personnel. It can't be just the coaching.
It's everybody involved.
Yeah, it needs to be a tear down and a build up. And I know it can't happen mid-season, but I do think at the very least, if they're not going to move on from Drayton this year, fine, whatever. They need new returners. And I think Molson, I don't know how strong his leg is, but it's got to be stronger than Mason's just by age-wise. Bring him onto the roster and just have him for kickoffs. If we can kick the ball out of the end zone on every kickoff, it's a game changer after what we saw Sunday, in my opinion.
Well, he did boot one out of the end zone, and I remember everyone kind of sarcastically cheered, which Jen, I think you can attest to. Is that true? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's capable of. I don't know if it's that he's not capable of doing it consistently anymore because he's getting up there in age. I mean, he's been there for 15 seasons now.
I mean, you shouldn't have to rely on your 30-some-year-old kicker though to make the stops on special teams.
Yeah.
Like realistically,
right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's true. It goes beyond. I mean,
that. It's a strategy at this point to do that, but I mean, it shouldn't have to come to we need Mason Crosby's leg to be stronger. But that's what it is. It's embarrassing that they can't make the tackles and that they can't make the stops and that I have to watch punters and kickers try and make tackles as much as they do. I don't know what to say anymore. It's laughable. Somebody sold their soul to watch Packers special teams be as bad as they are because there's really no other explanation when you got guys like Randall Cobb who are as good as they are also making mistakes. Like there's just some kind of voodoo curse on special teams and I don't know how to fix it.
It's an internal, like obviously I'm not in the locker room, but there's like an internal philosophy with the coaching or something that is just spiraling in the worst way possible, and it's affecting everybody in that room.
Yeah, and and to be honest, it's not just this year. I saw on Twitter after the game, since 2016, I think the best the Packers have ranked in special teams was 28th in the league, which is just it's year after year after year.
Even before that, they haven't had a good special teams unit in like over 10 years.
Exactly. I mean, it's pathetic. And look, like Jen said, and both of you, I mean, there's not much, and we know the Packers. They're not going to move on from Drayton in week 15, whether it seems like they should or shouldn't. But I do think they definitely need guys who just can simply catch a punt. Just catch the punt, fair catch it, and call it a day. And we need either Mason or J.J. Molson to kick the ball out of the end zone. And Bojorquez just punt it out of bounds. I don't care. Even if it's a 10-yard shorter punt, kick it out of bounds. Because if you kick it to someone, there's a good chance they're going to get 20 to 30 yards on a return. Tom Crabtree, that would be nice seeing him out there. But enough with the negative. Let's get to some of the positive. And as Zach said, Aaron Rodgers went, quote-unquote, God mode, Sunday Night Football. Jen, you got to see it in person. I mean, it wasn't just one or two throws. There was a handful of throws that were of the best of the year. He was so on point with every pass he made. It was incredible to watch. So seeing it in person, what was your takeaway from seeing Rodgers looking like at peak Aaron Rodgers throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, offense obviously off to a slow start. Both sides, I mean, everybody on the team felt like they were off to a slow start, but it was nice to see things start to click. And then, the EQ touchdown really started to turn things around. And yeah, Aaron Rodgers is just so fun to watch, and getting to watch a lot of these guys in person, there's a lot going on. And it was fun to just see, DeGuara and Mercedes and Lazard and Adams. It was like everybody was getting involved. I mean, he still really wants to hit MVS on those deep balls, still having issues with those. But I mean, everybody was getting involved. And I mean, the environment, maybe like the first quarter wasn't super friendly towards Rodgers because he, it took a second to get it going. But obviously, you mock the belt and you unleash MVP-esque Aaron Rodgers, and the rest is history. So no, it's always fun to see him light it up like that. And the crowd just goes berserk. And yeah, I mean, to get to watch as many touchdowns as he threw, it was a lot of fun. And, I got, I think, 3 Rodgers touchdowns in my end zone because I think Jones, he had his were on the other side. So I didn't see any of his. But no, it's so fun to watch someone like that. And you kind of, there's a difference between watching it like on TV and then actually seeing everything come together in person. And I mean, there were a lot of flukes, of course. I mean, no game is perfect, but he did play a phenomenal game. And I think, it just kind of adds to the rivalry, a Sunday night game versus the Bears, and he comes out and plays like that. I think he mentioned things about his toe, but it's like, I don't know, he's playing lights out and he's having fun. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is you can tell when Rodgers is going to play well based on his attitude. Things like after I didn't see a lot of things obviously during the game, but I get off and it's like I see all these videos of him like hugging the floor and just having a good time. And I think it all just kind of adds to what this season is and why this team is so successful. And I think a lot of it, it's what's happening on the field as well as off the field. So that's just been a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned the Aaron Jones touchdowns on the other side. Zach, I mean, when I first saw the Aaron Jones touchdown throw, not the run, I was wondering if maybe that was a design, which would have been incredible. Rodgers said afterwards it wasn't, while referencing a play in a 2005 preseason game, just to show how insane of a memory and just how smart Aaron Rodgers is. But that throw to me was, I think, my favorite throw of the game, maybe my favorite play of the game, just to go and the whole play is right. And then he just sees Aaron Jones in the corner of his eye on the left and puts it right. I mean, inches above the guy's hands to get it to Aaron Jones. So, Zach, your takeaway from Rodgers' overall performance and throws like that, throws like the one to Lazard he made early in the game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that play he referenced, it was Brett Favre to Amon Green against the Bills. It was like the opening drive of the preseason game in 2005. And I was like, when he was talking about that in his post-game presser and like referencing that play, I was like, what the hell? I can't remember anything I did in 2005.
I can't remember anything I did yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just overall, he played. I mean, and it's like I tweeted today too. I mean, that was like he has made so many throws this season where the ball is literally like centimeters from a defender's fingertips, and it's like the most. Someone brought up a comment to me where it's like, it has to be luck, that he's been doing that, and I'm like, I wouldn't put it past Aaron Rodgers of all people if he like literally studies like the upcoming defenses like verticals, and how high they can
Hand
reach, and he
size
just knows.
and
Yeah,
like
hand size and
width or like wingspan and
and I'm like, it's happened so many times throughout the years that I don't think it's like a coincidence. I don't think it's luck. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly where he wants to put that football. And it's just, it's unbelievable. Like his last 3 games, he's dealing with his toe injury and, he's kind of hindered by that. And he has 1,054 total yards and 11 total touchdowns. And it's just, it's ridiculous. He's heating up that MVP campaign. And there's so many people right now in that conversation for MVP. I mean, there's Jonathan Taylor, there's Kyler Murray, and Tom Brady even. But I think out of that list of names, which there is more, Aaron Rodgers is kind of leading them all. Like there's no one obvious front runner, but I mean, I know this is a Packers show and we're all Packers people and stuff, but I mean, like it's hard to ignore how well he's been playing. In spite of the toe injury, in spite of not having 2 of his best offensive linemen, now no Billy Turner for possibly for the rest of the season. LaFleur is hopeful that they'll have him back, but like that whole offensive line is like falling apart in front of him before his very eyes, and he's still playing at this insane otherworldly level. It's just it's remarkable.
Yeah, it's a lot of trusting the guys in front of you for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, trusting that they're going to protect you and that they're going to catch those balls. Because I mean, as a receiver, you have to think like, if it's that close to being tipped, that's also a lot of mental stuff. Just knowing like, hey, this ball's coming at me, I got to catch it. And I mean, I feel like that would throw me off a little bit if I saw someone's hand right there. So for them to be also be able to make those catches on, the tight windows, that's huge. And the offensive line to be able to, whatever they're putting together, whatever puzzle it is that week, and being able to continue to protect Rodgers. Obviously he went down a few times, but I mean, sorry, Eli, you can talk if you want to.
No, definitely better when you do than me. But just to say, to follow up on your point, Aaron Jones, like Alan Lazard made an incredible catch on that early throw right over the guy's fingertips. But for a running back, and Aaron Jones on his touchdown catch, to make that catch, because it is true, like even if the ball's not tipped or there's not a defender coming to hit you, when there's someone right in front of you and you lose vision of that ball for a second and you think it's going to be tipped and all of a sudden it's there, for Aaron Jones to make that catch as a running back, it just shows how talented he is. And again, as I say, basically every week, and I think the first quarter when they started slowly, and it was driving me nuts, and it drives me nuts almost every week this year because we've been starting slow every week, run the ball. It's just so obvious to me. When you have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, why is it not pound the ball? You set up the pass off the run. I don't understand why LaFleur, it takes him a quarter and a half at least to start really committing to the run. And it's late enough in the year where it's starting to drive me insane. Like it doesn't make sense to me, but
yeah,
overall,
the crowd was kind of laughing while you're on the running back topic. I think it was to open the third quarter on that opening possession at half, where it's, A.J. Dillon basically runs it the entire way, and then Aaron Jones gets the touchdown. So we're kind of laughing at that in our little section, like, A.J. Dillon did all the work, but Aaron Jones gets the credit at the end. So we're kind of like, oh, we should have just had A.J. Dillon finish off the drive, but it is what it is. And
well, I will say,
in your little section, your little clique.
In my little section, yeah, you become like best friends with the people sitting around you. The guy in front of me, every time something wasn't going well, he's like, all right, it's time. And he would take his shirt off. And it was just, I mean, it worked. And his girlfriend was like slapping his stomach for good luck. It gets wild there. I mean, got to get back to Lambeau.
Lambeau's a great environment, but Jen, you bring up the shirt, and I put this on either way I would wear it, but at halftime, the Packers were trailing. It was not the best vibe, a little bit of nerves, threw on this shirt. Next thing you know, Packers run away with the game. So I'm just going to say it clearly. There's, the I still on your shirt has
To
power.
be fair, the Packers have never lost when I've been in attendance, so I kind of take credit for it.
They've never lost when I've been in attendance either.
You've been to like one game.
Oh, wait, actually, no, never mind. Yeah. 49ers smacked the shit out of them. Sorry.
Well,
okay, 1-1.
I had the honor of being at the unmentionable Thanksgiving 2015 game, which still hurts me to my core. When they lost that game, I've not fully recovered from it. But this one, weird game, a lot of ups and downs. But I don't know about you two. I never truly felt like they were actually going to lose. It was just very annoying. It was just very frustrating to see that they can't put together 4 quarters of solid football in all 3 phases. And the offense and defense doesn't overly worry me. But just last point, in terms of special teams, like they really, really need to figure it out, because at the end of the day, it could easily cost them a playoff game and cost them the season if you can't block, if you can't stop someone on a punt return, or if you can't kick a field goal, or if you're kicking the ball out of bounds on a kickoff. And in my opinion, one of the worst is Malik Taylor. You've been playing football your whole life. Why the hell are you touching the ball when it is so clearly going out of bounds, costing the Packers 35 yards of field position? Makes no sense to me. Very frustrating.
Yeah, that was a very, very weird bonehead play.
And it was like, it looked last second too, like he didn't intend to do it until the very end.
Yeah,
it was like impulsive almost.
Yeah. Very clearly just a mental error that I'm sure he regrets. I don't think the perfect 4 quarters of football exists. I think you're always going to have these kinds of problems, and you're always going to have to figure out things to like navigate through. And I mean, the Packers, when problems happen, when special teams went to shit, they figured things out. They patched it up in the second half. They had, I think it was like 1 blunder in the second half, and that was Marquez Valdes-Scantling trying to recover the onside kick. That was really it. Like that whole first half was just a mess, but they cleaned it up. They adjusted, and they navigated those murky waters. Go ahead, Eli.
No, I was just going to say, like you said, I mean, they really did the kickoff coverage, because we were scoring so many touchdowns. It did look a lot better. Like guys were there, and we did have the forced fumble, which nearly turned into a turnover. We didn't get it. Henry Black coming in on that play. Oh, Andrew.
Okay, OJ, relax.
Yeah. But yeah, Zach, finish your point. I was just going to say that, yeah, it is. I just think LaFleur is kind of like a king of halftime adjustments. Like we've seen some slow starts this year, come out in the third quarter, and it's like a different team. But yeah, finish your points, Zach.
No, I was going to agree with you. Like I didn't think, at no point did I feel like the game was in jeopardy. Like the Packers were going to lose that game. And it's against the Bears, so it's something's going to go wrong on their end too. Like they're not going to. Yeah. Again, back to my point, like the perfect 4 quarters of football doesn't exist. And even more so when it concerns the Bears. I mean, I don't think the perfect half of football exists
I was
for
them.
Say so,
quarter, but we'll go with half. Yeah.
Yeah. So, eventually things are going to kind of fall apart. And I mean, you saw the Packers fight their way back into that game, and they pulled away. So
yeah, I mean,
it's about conquering those mistakes and responding to that adversity.
Yeah, and that's a big point that I really and I tweeted about it, that this team, even when things look like they're going real bad, it doesn't seem to faze anyone. Like a lot of other teams could have folded after what happened with all the special teams crap in the first half, and they came back as if it never happened, and they just played a very solid second half, came out and won the game. And as true North Packer fans said, number 1 in the NFL, number 1 in the NFC. Lot to be happy about. And I do want to mention again, Rasul Douglas. I mean, Zach, obviously I know you're maybe his biggest fan, but it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable the impact he is making. And it's not just the pick sixes, which is obviously great, but it's the pass breakups, the coverage. He's been incredible. And then Eric Stokes, you didn't hear his name all night, and that's a good thing, because he was Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson, non-factors, and Eric Stokes was a big part of that. So Zach, obviously we still are hoping for Jair to come back, but looking at the combination of Douglas and Stokes, and then obviously you have 2 great safeties, you got to feel pretty good about the secondary right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we say this every week. We kind of try to figure out what that combination is going to look like. I still think the best route they could take is plugging Jair into the slot and trusting him in that role, trusting him to be able to come down and make tackles and play in the run game. But and that sucks to say because Shannon Sullivan's coming off of what was probably like his best game of the season. I think he was targeted. He was targeted 5 times, allowed 1 catch for 6 yards, and he had that interception too.
It was a cool pick. Well,
it was. I thought he was going to drop it. Yeah. But it's hard. You have so many cornerbacks right now. Like it's just such a luxury. They don't know what the hell they're going to do in that secondary. But yeah, like you said about Rasul, I mean, he's just been like that's just been an incredible story. I mean, I'm going to recite what I tweeted the other day. They signed him off of the Cardinals practice squad on October 6th. He plays in his first game on October 17th. And then October 28th, he makes that game-winning interception in Arizona against that Cardinals team and gave the Packers the edge in that tiebreaker because both the Packers and the Cardinals are 10-3 right now. And if they win out, if both teams win out, I mean, that tiebreaker is going to come down to Rasul Douglas's interception. So it's crazy how things ended up working out and, how Brian Gutekunst and his guys kind of just pinpointed him. They pinpointed him and they said, hey, this guy's going to help us right now. We just lost Jair against the Steelers, and we don't know when he's going to be back. So let's bring in this guy. Let's hope for the best. He's experienced. He has some time in Philadelphia. He was on that Super Bowl winning team in 2017. Let's see what he can do. And he has been he's been a godsend, man, for this secondary. Literally. I mean, it's never just one guy that fixes an entire unit. Obviously, everything plays into that, but I mean, like he has held up his end of the freaking bargain. When you have another corner opposite your rookie first round pick that is playing, who Eric Stokes is playing extremely well, but when you get a guy across from him, not named Jair Alexander, that is still playing as good, if not better, I mean, that's like ridiculous. That's unheard of, for most teams. And the Packers got this guy mid-season.
Yeah, off a practice squad. And then that's the crazy thing is that, just much like Devondre Campbell, who had a season high 16 tackles, which is crazy Sunday night, but
coming off of the COVID list.
Yeah, right. Coming off of COVID, coming out and playing his maybe best game of the year, but seeing that the Packers are and Goody being able to find these diamonds in the rough, as they say, and plugging them in and making huge impacts. And I'm sure you guys saw, or I don't know, but Aaron Rodgers, on the McAfee show this week, kind of mentioning that it seems like he has been giving input on a lot of these signings, as he kept bringing up guys they're bringing in and the impact they've had. And I do think that, obviously none of us know for sure, but if Aaron Rodgers has been involved in any of those discussions, that obviously bodes well, in my opinion, for Aaron Rodgers' future in Green Bay. But let's talk about this right here. Billy Turner.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Rasul or anything, but whatever.
Jen, I mean, real quick, because I think a pick six is maybe the most exciting play.
No, I was going to say that I think that the pick six really changed the tone of the defense because they weren't off to a hot start. They were struggling a lot. And then that happens and you could just really see the shift in things. And, Rasul obviously sticks out, but it was fun watching Campbell. He's really easy to find. His hair is flying all over the place and it's awesome to see him play in person. And also Preston Smith was a lot of fun to see. He had a really good game. And I think, you just kind of think about how he took a pay cut to stay here and how big of an impact he's had. So there's a lot of key guys on defense who that's what's important is everybody doing their job. And that's what's working. You got Rasul coming in as the new guy, making an impact that he has. And then you've got guys taking pay cuts to play on a winning team and, outperforming in their role. And then you get Campbell out here who has become a true leader for this defense out there. And it's just all coming together so nicely. And even when they have that slow start, I think, I didn't get to see too much about what was said at halftime, but I think Preston Smith had some words that kind of got them fired up a little bit. So it was nice to see, you have so many different guys who can be leaders on this team and a lot of them who haven't even been here for a full season. So I think that's been a huge impact. And now that the offense is really starting to click and you've got a lot of your pieces aside from the offensive line, it's really going to make for a fun, next month of football.
Yeah, for sure. And then Preston Smith, to continue what you're saying, like he's not been, because we've all been seeing Rashawn Gary really finally become dominant, but Preston has been incredible, just consistently forcing pressure. And there were times, and look, Justin Fields, he's an elusive quarterback, and you got to give him that credit. So, some sacks that maybe should have been sacks that weren't. But the fact that Preston Smith has looked, it looks like no tackle can stop him. He's just so strong. He's just pushing tackles into their quarterback week after week. Versus Stafford, strip sack, fumble, huge play. Versus, that was actually Gary. I'm sorry. But this week, the strip sack, fumble was a huge momentum changer. And then Rashawn Gary, had with good hands to pick up a bouncing ball, get that fumble. But loving what I'm seeing out of Preston Smith. And now to get back to this real quick, to have Dennis Kelly as like your third or fourth guy, like we have so many injuries on the offensive line.
Thankfully, he's healthy now.
Yeah, finally he's healthy.
My gosh, I don't know what they would have done if Dennis Kelly wasn't healthy.
Yeah, but to have him come in and he played great. And overall, if let's just say, at least for the regular season, there's no more Billy Turner. Hopefully we get him back for the playoffs. Seeing how he performed Sunday night, Zach, how do you feel about Kelly at right tackle? And then we're going to get to left tackle right after this. We obviously have some stuff to talk about that as well.
I mean, I think it's still fine. I mean, even if you have to kind of navigate the rest of the season and go into the playoffs without Billy Turner, you're at least getting David Bakhtiari back. Fingers crossed. And you're going to have this seasoned veteran who started 16 games last year at right tackle. Like, this is what they brought him in for. He can play either side. He's a swing tackle. And, like I said, this is why they signed a guy like him, for these dire circumstances. And, I mean, they're in dire circumstances right now. I mean, you don't have no Bakhtiari, no Jenkins, now no Turner. I mean, you have a second-year guy at left guard. You have Lucas Patrick at center, which really, I mean, he's not a liability or anything, but, I don't know how to feel between him and Josh Myers. I don't know. I really can't tell you which one is better at this point, but. And then you have Royce Newman, who last couple of games, he's actually played relatively well after a really rough start to the season. But yeah, I think having a guy like Dennis Kelly who has all that experience, he knows what he's doing pretty much. Like, he's not going to flinch. He's seen all this shit before. He's stepping into that spot. He's protecting Aaron Rodgers, and I mean, that's the best possible kind of like, break glass in case of emergency kind of scenario that you can have there, and and like LaFleur said too, he graded really well. He wasn't their highest graded lineman or anything, but he graded really well. And for a guy to come in his first action of the season and apparently grade really well under those circumstances against that defensive front, I mean, that's incredible. Yeah,
it's great to see him. Like you said, I mean, I don't know how many other teams, and specifically quarterbacks, like, to feel confident when you have a patchwork offensive line with what you said, with Yash playing at left tackle, injured at right tackle, you have a rookie at right guard, second-year player at left guard, Lucas Patrick at center after losing Josh Myers, and Aaron Rodgers. To him, it's just like, all right, business as usual. I'm going to go out there and do my job. But now that we brought up Josh Myers, any update? I feel like I've seen some stuff. He might come back. He might not. Either of you seen anything that would give us reason to believe he'll be back this year?
I saw, didn't they just sign a center off a practice squad, off of Cardinals practice squad?
Mike Mennett, maybe?
I was waiting for Zach to confirm that. But...
No, they did.
He's just like, I'm just going to sit back and like let you guys figure it out.
They did sign a center today. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but
his last name is Mennett. I forgot his first. I think it's Mike or Chris Mennett. But I do hope Myers can come back. But like Zach said, I don't see Lucas Patrick as a major liability. Is he a Corey Linsley? No, but he's not a major liability. And just overall, in terms of, like we said, just in that game, but the whole season, I think the team has a toughness and resiliency that we have not seen the Packers have in a long time. Just they're out there. They could win defensive battles, they could win shootouts, and they could win everything in between. And it's really great to see. And speaking of winning what could be a tough game, we got to preview a little bit this upcoming game against the Baltimore Ravens, a good team with obviously a very mobile quarterback. Might be a bit limited. I mean, let's just say, assuming Lamar plays, which I expect him to, but he did hurt his ankle on Sunday. So going up against yet another mobile quarterback, good team, good defense. Jen, what are your thoughts going into this Ravens game? We'll get to the score predictions later, but just general feelings. And let's go with the assumption Lamar's playing. How do you think this defense holds up against the most athletic and mobile quarterback the league has seen probably since Michael Vick?
Yeah, I mean, what was kind of frustrating to watch against Fields was, just against this Bears offense, nobody containing the outside, and they were really taking advantage of that. So that was really frustrating. So if Lamar Jackson is healthy and he can run around like that, if they get out on the outside, they've got to figure out a way to stop that, because that's where I felt they did the most damage in the run game. So I think that's going to kind of be the point of defense, where they can make it a defensive stop versus letting them run all over you, because there wasn't as much up the middle I saw from the Bears. It was just a lot of, every time you saw them go outside, you're like, oh man, here they go. They're going to get like 5-6 yards every play. So I think as long as they can kind of scheme up something in that regard, then that could be huge to kind of getting an early jump on defense and getting those stops.
Yeah, it was frustrating to me that it felt like when you play mobile quarterback, the logical thing to do is to have a spy on him as much as you can. And it didn't seem like the Packers defense had that a lot with Fields, where there were times where it was wide open for 15, 20 yards. And it's like, what the hell's going on here? Zach, what did you see from Joe Barry's defense, and why there was no spy as much as there should have been, in my opinion?
I think you kind of let Justin Fields, for the most part, kind of just do what he's going to do with his legs. I hope that your defense is able to rally to the ball, rally to him, and prevent him from, ripping off more chunks of yardage, which I think they did in the second half for the most part. But, the priority number one is limiting what he does through the air. Shutting off that passing attack. If he starts killing you with his legs, then you adjust to that, and you kind of just, at some point you're going to have to bite the bullet and kind of like choose between the lesser of two evils. You don't want him to beat you through the air. If he takes off and runs, you have guys in your defense that are going to be able to rally to him. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing, like you guys mentioned with Lamar Jackson. I mean, whether it's going to be Jackson, I know we're operating under the assumption that Lamar Jackson plays, but whether it's going to be him or whether it's going to be Tyler Huntley, that running game overall is going to be a problem. And I mentioned this months ago. That's going to be a major issue. And as Jen mentioned too, the Packers were terrible early in the game against the Bears Sunday night at setting the edge. They were just gashing this defense on the edges towards the sideline. Guys weren't like I said, setting the edges. I know it's such an overused phrase, but I mean it's true. They didn't have anybody really attacking to the outside. So, the Ravens, I feel like, do a lot of their work in the middle. They do a lot of their work in the running game straight up the gut. That whole offense is built to run the football. It doesn't matter if it's, when they were healthy, when it was J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards, it didn't matter. They are built to run the football, and they're built to operate around Lamar Jackson's strengths. And sometimes it comes as a runner. I think he's so much better of a runner than he is a passer. Okay. And I'm not putting myself in the group that says, oh, well, he's a wide receiver. Lamar Jackson's a running back. I'm not putting myself in that category, but he's a lot more mobile, more prone to attacking your defense and just ripping you to shreds with his legs. Screw you, Andrew. So, that's where the focus needs to be. Unlike what it was against Justin Fields and cutting off what he does in the passing game. I mean, the Ravens can beat you through the air, but I mean, Lamar Jackson is going to be so much more of a problem with his legs. I mean, whether he's healthy 100% or whether he's operating at 60, he's going to be an issue.
Yeah, no, I think there needs to just be, whether it's Campbell or you want to put a safety, whether that's Henry Black or Amos or Savage, someone needs to just, and it's hard to dedicate a player to the quarterback running because you need all players out there, but that's a huge, huge, huge part of their offense. So I think they need to have a spy on him at all times. You cover Hollywood Brown over the top. You make sure Mark Andrews doesn't kill you. And I think you can really limit that offense. So looking at the game overall, it's in Green Bay, right?
No.
No.
Oh shit, that's tough. Okay, I don't know why I thought it was, but no. Oh, the
They
Browns
have
game.
Cleveland
Browns game. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I mixed them up.
He's
But
changing his score prediction as we speak.
no, but look, it should be a very good game. I think it's going to be a very not low scoring, but more of like a tough battle it out kind of game. And Zach just alluded to it. Let's get to our score predictions. Jen, why don't you kick us off with how you see? And again, let's go with the assumption Lamar's playing. Whatever percentage of health he's at, we don't know. But how do you see this game going for the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, like you just mentioned, they're on the road against Baltimore, and I can't remember who it was in the chat just said, we have no idea if these AFC North teams are good or not, because every week is something different that we're seeing from them, and we have them in back-to-back weeks. So yes, thank you, true North Packers fan. So we really have no idea what version of the Ravens we could be seeing in this home game. I do think that it'll be a little bit closer. I am still seeing a double-digit win. I'm going to say 27-17. Yeah, I think that it's just this team, we really don't know from what we're seeing. There's just so many different ways that the Ravens are playing. And I mean, we could see a completely different team than we've seen from them all year. So hopefully the Packers can just kind of put their nose down, do their thing, and get the job done. But I do see this one being a little bit closer, especially on the road in Baltimore.
Yeah, I hear that, Zach. How about you?
I got Green Bay 23-17. The AFC is just such like an enigma right now. I mean, you have multiple teams at 8-4. You have even more teams at 7-6. I'm going off my memory here, but yeah, it's insane. So I really don't know what to make of the Ravens. I just know they're a very good running football team, and I feel like traditionally they've had a good defense, like for the last 20 plus years. I mean, they've been a very stout defense in like every phase. And they also have one of the best, if not the best, special teams group unit in the league. They're like the anti-Packers. They're the complete polar opposite. They know what the hell they're doing. But I think the Packers ultimately they pull away with this one. I don't have any hard hitting analysis on why or how they're going to do that, but I think they're going to win this.
This is like a giant question mark game of what we're actually going to see.
Yeah, no, there's a lot.
You just don't know. It's not like you watch some teams and it's like you think, oh, if you're watching the Colts, to stop JT or whatever game. It's what do you do against this team and what the enigma. Yeah. But I mean, you really don't know what you're getting. And, I've watched a couple Ravens games and it's like 1 week I'm watching one team and the next week I'm watching another, and you just have no idea what to expect from them. So you just kind of got to hope that we're going to see the Packers that we know and they're going to be able to stop them like they have majority of everyone else.
Yeah, I'm with you guys.
Sorry. Games like this where you think they're going to be low scoring, kind of like, defensive slugfests, they end up being like 38-34 or some stupid shit like
45-30
that.
game.
Yeah, 45 to 30.
35-30. When we thought at the very beginning, who was it that tweeted? Oh, it was Tom Crabtree, our boy Tom Crabtree.
At halftime.
Your classic old Bears Packers, defensive battle, blah blah blah.
And then at halftime in our little group chat, he's like, "Let's disregard all those score predictions."
Yeah,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and I mean, it was like he got old takes exposed. Actually, I think.
Yeah.
So our poor friend.
Which speaking of old takes exposed, when Benker, obviously he suited up for his first ever NFL game, which was amazing, and he did get to go out there and take the victory formation and take that knee. And with taking that knee, he also dunked on Florio, who said he'd never see the field. So double win for Kurt Benker. Awesome moment. So I just need to bring that up because it was a lot of fun to get to see him go out there and, do his thing. Yeah. And Rodgers being the good teammate that people say he's not, making sure that he got that kneel down. So a lot of good things happening in that game. So those little extra, like those sprinkles on top of the victory Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just
can you hear
that? Yeah.
Zach just lagged out at the worst time.
Yeah. Right when you're making your point, you just froze.
It was like your internet was censoring you. We didn't hear anything you just said.
That's probably for the best because I mean, I'll say it
Well,
again.
I'll see what we're gonna say.
No, if it was something
you,
against Mike
Florio.
Florio, please say it.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, Florio, you can go and go. Just go.
You want to finish the sentence?
Yeah, I don't think so. But just
Do
stop
it.
talking. No one wants to hear it. It's honestly one of the more pathetic.
He can go suck it.
There you go, Andrew. He can go suck it. Florio.
This guy think he's Triple H or something? Jesus Christ. Eli,
Suck it.
Eli, let's get to your score prediction. I cut you off.
Score prediction real quick. So like both of you, I do think it will be a bit lower scoring. I'm going to go 27-20 Packers. I think it'll be a bit back and forth, but the Packers will kind of control it, whether Lamar plays or not. And I'm just confident in this team. And more importantly, I'm confident in the defense to actually, before the season, looking at the Ravens game, I was thinking in my head about Colin Kaepernick and 200 yards rushing. Today, not as nervous about it. So I'm going to go 27-20. Packers win, continue to play good football against good teams and keep the number 1 seed in the NFC, number 1 record in the NFL, which we love to see. And for everyone who tuned in tonight, we always appreciate it. You guys are the best. And before we head out, make sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube at Game On Wisconsin. Follow Game On Wisconsin on Twitter at Game On WI. You can find Jen on Twitter at BigMac_4. You can find Zach at It's Zachariah J. Great article this week about fart-smelling Lay's potato chips. Loved it, Zach.
Thank you.
You can find me at Book of Eli _NFL. Once again, everyone out there, we appreciate you for watching. And here's a quick ad for the Freezer podcast here on Game On Wisconsin. Another show you got to tune in for every single week. And we'll see you next week at 11-3, everybody. Go Pack.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sanjay from the Freezer Podcast. With me is Fred and Matt, and we are always here on Mondays at 7 p.m., right before Monday Night Football. So come check us out. You never know what we're going to bring on the show. But hey, you know what? You have to check us out from 7 to 8 because you know what? I got to put my kid down right after. So join us, 7 p.m. And definitely check
what you think, Fred. All right.
Fred.
Like, dude, you're an idiot.
I'm doing very well, Jen. Is it just going to be me and you, or Eli and Zach going to pop in?
Yeah, they'll talk every once in a while.
Every now and then we'll kind of
He was already here right away.
It kind of, well, we're used to you attacking us, so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Look at
Let's just put it this way. Who do you see as the quarterback week 1 for the Green Bay Packers?
I see